Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. So today I'm reacting to a Girl Power Alliance leadership training. If you're not familiar with Girl Power Alliance, this is a newer MLM and it's almost like master resell rights, but it's not because you can't really take the course and do what you want with it. What happens is you recruit them into this membership community of courses that they put out. And then also they just released apparel, I guess. So that's a new interesting development in the Girl Power Alliance world. If you would like to know more about Girl Power Alliance, I did do a full deep dive on them that I will make sure is linked in the description below. And I did actually mention this leadership training. I was going to react to it during the deep dive, but I decided it deserved its own video because it is that golden. Now, this training is with the founder, Michelle, and I believe this is her husband, and he actually has founded another new MLM. And his new organization, MLM, it's something like Real Men Alliance or something. I forget. I cannot find it anywhere right now. I'm pretty sure it was in my deep dive. But anyway, you can get an idea of what he's like just from what he decided to name this organization. So this training is surely not going to disappoint us. But before we get the fuck into it, let's roll the disclaimer.
I've been giving you the rest. Now you wanna stay the night.
All right, now that that's out of the way, if you are not new here, you know that there is one more piece of housekeeping. And as always, I have the chapters listed in the description or on this bar here at the bottom so that you could skip right past this section. But if you are new, please listen up.
Listen up.
I do not blur the names or the faces of the individuals that I am reacting to in my videos. This does not mean that I am encouraging anybody to go and seek these individuals out. I am not inciting hate toward these individuals. Please do not seek these individuals out and send them hateful or mean comments or messages. That is not what my content is intended for. My content is meant to be educational, but most of all, entertaining. So let's do our part and keep it that way. And with that, let's get the fuck into it.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's Wednesday night. It's our leadership mastermind call. And as you can see, my guest is right next to me tonight. We debated on whether he should be on his own Zoom or if he should sit next to me, and he opted to sit next to me tonight. So
Of course I did.
I'm very, very excited about tonight for many reasons. Just so everybody is aware, we'll be very interactive with you tonight. If you have specific questions, please feel free to type them into the chat, and we'll be watching the chat together tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Bobby Schafer. I met him in the year 2000. And he has basically been an entrepreneur, I think, his whole life. He held a couple of jobs, but I don't think he could get a job. He's completely unemployable. He has, it's a beautiful and a terrible thing. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's not great. He's had a handful of traditional businesses as a subcontractor, he owned a landscaping business. He started his first business at 27 years old. Is that right? How old were you?
It was probably young 20s. Yeah, actually, late teens, actually.
No. I'm talking about the limousine service.
Well, that was 24. Yeah.
Oh, 24 years old. He had a limousine. That was one of his first businesses. He had a limousine service, and he got some big clients because of his ingenuity and just, really loving to work for himself. Tonight, we're going to talk to you about leadership. As a result of his leadership, he's literally sold hundreds of millions of dollars in products and services in the network marketing profession. And in order to earn yourself $1 million in the network marketing profession, you have to sell and lead teams that sell a lot of product. And he's earned multiple millions of dollars, built giant teams before he ever met me.
He's built giant pyramids. So a quick Google search, I cannot find what MLMs Mr. Schafer was part of, but it doesn't surprise me that he's out here building his pyramids far and wide like the ancient Egyptians.
And has led people. And my story with him is he has literally been a teacher and a mentor to me since we met, and especially since I started in the profession of network marketing. And what are you saying, Ferris? I'm letting everybody in now.
We got you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Especially since I started in the network marketing profession. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight we're going to do a little bit of an interview style. Since this is a specific leadership call, I say this is the truth, that Bobby has been the singular most impactful mentor and leader for me in my life, personally and professionally. I have learned so much about leading, so much about communication, so much about business, and so many things. I could just go on and on about how much I have learned from him on the business side.
Please do not inflate his ego.
On the personal side, we have a blended family. Bobby's been an amazing step parent to my older two kids and a really phenomenal dad to my third. I say our third because he's been such a great dad to the kids that were not born to him. And just somebody, if I ever heard somebody say that they actually didn't like Bobby, I would know for a fact it was their problem, because I've never met anybody that actually didn't like him. He's just a very nice, kind, likable person.
I'm sorry, but I have a hard time believing that everybody loves this human that created something called Real Men Alliance.
Real men of genius.
I did find the website. I just found it. It's not launched yet, but at the beginning of the website is Real Men Lead. Real Men Alliance is your community for growth, camaraderie, leadership, and opportunity. The role men play in society cannot be understated. Men lead, build, and create. Sounds like a real stand-up guy. A little bit misogynistic, but we could put that to the side, right?
That really gets along with everybody and makes a point to make people feel really, really good. And, over the years for myself and network marketing, I had a lot of sharp edges that needed to be ground down. So it was a good combination, because if people didn't like me, they certainly liked him. They certainly liked him. And that probably saved people that were like, yeah, Michelle's a little harsh, but Bobby's really nice. So we'll stick around. So tonight I'm very excited. Welcome to the leadership call.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I'm very happy to have you. We've only had a few men. Who are the other men? We had Sean Bowles. Have we had any other men? I think you're only the
I
second.
don't think so.
I think you're only the second guy we've had on here. And of course, with us working to launch the Real Men Alliance, it's a great thing that you're going to get to know him a little bit tonight. So I want to start off by asking you this question. What is leadership? Like, what's your definition of leadership?
Before I answer that, do you have filters on this thing? Because I have way more wrinkles than what's showing on this screen.
I'm
right
telling you, it's the glam light.
I am so amazing.
Why do you think I have the light so bright?
And can I do something also real quick before that?
Do you have filters on here? Because I look really great. I can't even.
Is it Fairlith?
Yes.
How do you say that?
It's
Fairlith?
in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's like 2 a.m.
I'm not sure. Oh gosh, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to see these questions throughout this interview, but she asks, you obviously had an entrepreneur spirit in you, Bobby. What if you do not feel that you were born with it? And I would just have to disagree immediately, because you're here.
That's right. At 2 a.m.
You're on this call at 2 a.m. And how was I to know if I was born with it as well?
Being on a call at 2 a.m. does not mean that you have any kind of entrepreneur mindset or what have you. It just means you're on a call at 2 a.m. Also, you can be an entrepreneur or business owner or whatever you want to be without foregoing sleep. Sleep is important.
I mean, I had dreams. I did want to own a business when I was in high school. I started to realize very quickly through my own dad who did side jobs after he would work at his regular job, and the customer would just hand him cash. And I thought, that's what I want to do. That's all I want to do, is create my own income. So I don't know if I was born with it, or I just had somebody that was, earning money in my family outside of his job, and I thought that sounded really cool and looked really cool. So Fairlith, you're here 2 a.m. You must have been born with something that wanted more than just a job every day where you do what somebody else tells you what to do. So okay, sorry.
Sidebar on this.
How is this different with all of the terms and conditions and rules that this MLM has and all MLMs have? You're still having to do what somebody else is telling you and follow their rules. It's no different.
Because do you think that entrepreneurs might they're a little rebellious? Because typically,
A lot rebellious.
like you see the path that everybody's going down, and you're like, isn't there anything else? Don't you feel like that's kind of the way entrepreneurs think? They see everybody doing this. Here's what I'm supposed to do. And an entrepreneur's like, but why? Or why do I have to do it that way? Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I'll give you another example of when I was a kid. I had just turned 21, and there's this place. It's about 4 hour drive from us. We call it the river, and we all go to the
It's a
river, and you
California
take
thing.
your boats and your sea-doos and the whole thing. And on this portion of the river, there are these casinos that you could stay at for very, very cheap, of course, because they want you to gamble. And I just remember being 21 years old. I'm walking through this casino area, and I come up to the roulette table where they spin that big wheel, and there's the different colors and all the numbers. And I watched this guy, and he didn't look that old to me. He looked like I mean, I was young. I'm 21, so he might have been 30 or less. And he just kept putting hundreds of dollars down on this red or black. If you've ever done that before and know what that means, red or black, you can gamble on. And he just hundreds. He'd lose another 200, hundreds more. He'd win 200, he'd hundreds. And I'm just like, and I actually asked him a question. I'm like, do you own a business? Why I asked him that, I don't know, because I worked a job. I didn't know what it meant to just be able to risk all that money like that. And he said, yes, I do. And I said, thank you very much, and walked away. And that was another thing in my head that just made me think differently, that he doesn't care. He's just throwing it out there because he can. That was the answer for me. He did it because he can. And I'm not saying gambling is great or anything. I'm just saying that's what I saw as a kid. And then through my dad as well on what he did after work. So I don't know if that answered a question or not, but
It did. We sidebarred hard because the first question
we
was
do a lot of sidebarring, if that's okay with all of you.
slash
Right?
squirrel. There's a squirrel situations that happened. Everybody knows that that's what I do. But back to this first question, like, so what is leadership to you? Like, what is that? How would you define it?
I believe that leadership can be a great thing and can be a not so great thing. I believe that leadership is influence. And who was I talking to just the other day? And I said, look, even Hitler was a leader.
Sir,
Like Hitler?
that's where we should draw the line. Like, sir, you should just exit now. Even Hitler was a leader.
He led millions of people, and it was not a good thing in my opinion. So you can do good things with the right leadership, and you can do bad things with the wrong leadership. But I think leadership is influence mostly, and you do learn that as you go. And were some people born leaders? I'm not sure, to be honest, with the answer on that question. I think that it depends on who you are around, what type of people that you're around as you grow up. And even if you weren't around good leadership, you can still be that good leader as you move forward, and you can choose to be around different people in your life, which will help you be better.
I don't think I asked if leaders are born, but I personally think leaders are born. Some people are born. You are a person that thinks differently. You're maybe a little rebellious. Maybe you just have I think it's both. I think leaders can be born and leaders can be made. Because I've certainly, and you and I have watched this over the course of our career. We've watched people that, come into our teams that had no leadership that turn out to be some of our best leaders. And we'll get into that.
Oh, do we believe that because you need everybody to be leaders so they can build more and more teams and build the pyramid in its entirety? Is that why we're saying everybody can be a leader? You can be born a leader, or you can be made into a leader.
Just thinking back, growing up with some of the friends that I had back as a teenager and in my younger 20s, and one person in mind is sticking in my head right now. This kid was just the greatest kid. He could have been the greatest leader, but he stayed hanging out with the wrong people, and he ended up doing bad things. He ended up being in jail for a little while, and he just was around the wrong people. He hung out with the wrong influence.
It builds character.
We go to jail peacefully.
I'm kidding.
But the kid had so much potential.
How sad.
Yeah, and so it really is a matter of, you end up just like the people you're hanging around, and it's sometimes you have to change things up in your life to be better, to become better.
Well, this is a perfect segue that we didn't plan, but that was a perfect way for me to ask my next question, because my next question is, I will tell you, as your wife and learn, and as somebody that's learned from you in business and just living with you and being around you, I was always very curious as to, like, who were you around and what were the influences in your life that impacted who you became as an adult man. So who influenced you growing up? Like, who were the leaders in your life?
as a kid, and I mean not a young kid, because we don't have many people in our lives yet, but except for our parents and a couple of others. But for sure, my dad. And not everybody can say that. I just had just a great, and my dad is still around today, and he is just a great example of just integrity and yes, leadership. And I would still say my dad. But then back then, the principal of the private school I went to, and I always say this guy, and I just saw him. I was able to see him a couple of months ago, and he's just he wasn't a guy that had a lot of money. It was a Christian school, so they don't pay you much, especially back then when I was in school in the horse and carriage days, of course. But he just was a great guy, and just an example of leadership to the max. You know, he was that person that you could see being your friend, even as a kid to an adult. He just was a cool guy to hang around, and he was a great example in many arenas. And he also, you know, he would tell you if you were doing something that you weren't supposed to be doing. He wasn't afraid. I don't know. There's
To hold you accountable.
Yeah, to hold me accountable. There's so much more that I could mention, but I know we don't have time.
So let me.
If he was a principal, isn't that his job, first of all? And also, what are people even getting from this call right now? There has been no tangible information given at this point.
So you had a lot of good people around you. It seems like good men.
I definitely had good men around me growing up. Yes.
And so would you say that their influence on you was the things that they said? How did they influence you? The things that they said, the things they told you to do, how was it the way they acted? How did who they were and their character rub off on you? If it rubbed off on you.
I mean, just I guess, and this would be different for everybody, I think, but just the moral side to them was on point all the time. They were, of course, my dad and this principal that I looked up to were both believers.
Giles, are you talking about?
Yeah, both full blown believers, which is always a good thing to be raised around. And they just, we talk about I don't want to say punishment, but what, like when you get in trouble,
Consequence?
like consequences back then were a lot more harsh than they are today, I think. Even going to a private school, I remember as a freshman getting spanked, like swatted.
Whoa.
And you can't
As
do
a
that.
ninth grade, how tall were you?
Yeah, I was probably getting close to 6 feet tall.
He got a
already.
spanking as a 6 foot.
And so that kind of straightens you up real quick, or at least in my head, I was like, I
Yikes.
want to fight this guy right now. He's hitting me with a paddle. I got to fight him.
And by the way,
But-
this was that same man you're talking about,
That
right?
is, yes, it's Giles. But
Interesting.
growing up with a little bit more strict, raise, I respect those two guys probably more than most men in my life today, because
She's all smiles when he's talking about the fact that he was abused in school by his principal, who he looks up to. I am uncomfy.
of the way how they did things around me back then. And they were, I'm not going to say I guess they were strict. They were definitely more strict than today's parents
You got
probably
hit
are.
little in ninth grade. They were strict.
Yeah, but it seemed normal back then. It really didn't seem like it was over the top. I wanted to fight him, but it still didn't seem over the top. It was like, well, I did something wrong. Now I got to suffer the consequence.
Were you taller than him?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
He was in his 30s though, so I probably couldn't take him at that
Right.
point.
I want to say something about your dad.
That's so funny.
It's actually not funny at all. It's incredibly painful.
When those of you that kind of know the story about the Radiant Leadership Academy and how I started to write the Radiant Leadership book in 2019. And the beginning of that book was I was interviewing Bobby's siblings about his dad. He has had a massive impact on me. He's one of those people that everyone that meets him, just again, like you, everybody have you ever heard of anybody that didn't like your dad in your whole life?
Never. Still today. Never.
Have you ever heard your dad yell at you?
Not one time.
Fight with your mom?
No.
Have you ever heard him like fly off the handle and do something that he had to apologize for?
Never.
Have you ever heard of this?
It's perfection. Yeah, I
From
can.
any human?
We
I've
think
never-
he's an actual angel.
Yes.
We're not sure, but I think he's our guardian angel.
Everyone in the family literally believes that Don, my father-in-law, is not even a human. Like it's kind of this joke, but because he's just this. And every morning when you grew up, what was your dad doing in the kitchen?
Always had his cup of tea. Didn't like coffee, liked tea. and he was reading something out of his Bible that had tons of notes being taken in it, and of course a little prayer time, all by himself.
And he still does
And
it.
we knew that when he was doing that, you just didn't say anything. You let him get through it, and then after you could talk to him.
And he still does that today.
I would say he probably does. I haven't seen him do that because I've been there in the morning, but I'm sure he does.
He is a truly remarkable man. I feel so blessed to be a part of the Schafer family in general. But in particular to have been to have had experienced somebody like Don, who just and some, I think Ferris and Molly have both met him. And maybe I'm trying to think of who else is on this call. I don't think anybody else here. It's just an amazing, like, would do anything for people person, and just a good guy. So that's been a big influence on you. It's been a big influence on me. So I just wanted you guys to kind of hear a little bit of background about some of this. Who do you think you would have been if that wasn't your dad?
I don't know, but I'm reading some of these comments, and some people are saying they were not around good, influential people, nor were they around believers. And I don't know what I would have been like.
Those people exist. People who weren't raised around principals, who beat their ass and were raised with believers. Those people exist. I'm one of them. I guess that's not a great example, but you know, they're everywhere.
I would hope that the mind that God gave me would have shown me or allowed me to know right from wrong. But I just don't know. I mean, obviously the ones that are here that had that growing up, you're here. You know that this is a good thing for you, and you're around good people here. So I would think that I would be smart enough to know that too, even if I didn't get raised that way. But I think you could go in the opposite direction as well if you just let yourself do that.
Gathel, that's a great question.
Yeah,
She knows that she knows you're, okay, I will tell you some context. So when I talk, especially in the Radiant Speaker Academy, I talk about, and just in general, I tell people that are introverts trying to build a business that that's not something to stop you because you're an introvert. And I tell them the story when we were dating on the phone, and I was like, do you even want to be on the phone with me? Because you don't sound like it. It's just, hi, how are you? Everything's great. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Are a little on the quiet side.
So monotone. I was like, he's so bored. Why am I talking to this guy? So I told him that as a network marketer, you have taught yourself how to be animated, have voice inflection, and all these things. So that's the basis of the question. And her question is, as an introvert, how did you learn tones and learn to put yourself out there? So hold off on
What
that.
does tones mean?
Like voice inflection.
Oh, for me to have that. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So we'll go back to that because we're going to get into the career start, but don't forget that question because that is a true thing. And I always tell people, as an introvert, and no matter, as any type of personality, if you want to be successful in anything, here we're talking about network marketing, but if you want to be a singer, if you want to be a runner, if you want to, like, you can train yourself in the practice of something until you're good at it. And anything else is a lie from the pit of hell, because you are made in the image of God. And if it's possible in the world, it's possible for you. ... If you want to be an NBA player and you're only 5'3.5", that's probably not going to happen. But you might be really great at basketball for 5'3", right? So let's just leave that there. I want to shift gears slightly. So we met in 2000 on a blind date. You guys all know that. You all know our story. It was a couple years later. Did I say 2000?
I don't know, man. I wasn't listening.
Just recently I said we got together in 2020. We got together in 2000. So in case I flub it up, that's when we met, on a blind date in 2000. And I decided a couple years later to jump into network marketing. And I felt like I was going to do great in network marketing because I had a ringer. I had this guy that was living in my house that could teach and train me about network marketing because I knew that he had already been successful in a number of companies. By the time that we met, how many companies had you been? That was your biggest run when I met you, but you had been moderately successful up until that company. So how many different companies?
A handful. I can't think of exactly 3.
I don't know.
Was it more?
I was with you.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was a handful because, as you know, most of us know that there are some people that start these companies and they don't last very long sometimes. So that was, of course, we've all fallen to that at one point or another, and I certainly did.
That's a sign that the MLM business model is not sustainable whatsoever.
Bell, Muggy B was 5'2" and he made it into the NBA. Case in point. I rest my
And
case.
he could dunk.
Wow, that's impressive. So you got, I don't want to go into why you got into network marketing. If we have time, we'll do that. Because we're already 20 minutes in.
Can I just say real quick, as an introvert, and yes, as I get older, I become more introverted. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't get it, but you just get more and more introvert. I do anyways. But when she says all these nice things about me, and when she first introduced me, I don't know if you're noticing that I'm in a different world purposely, because I can't listen to it. I can't hear it. It's so uncomfortable to be recognized like that. But in this particular industry that we're in, it's kind of needed because people want to follow success. And whether it be in leadership, whether it be in just making income or whatever. And so I've learned, as well as learning how to influx my voice from time to time. Maybe I haven't done it on tonight's call much, but you have to just you have to become better, which is what GPA is really all about, is becoming a better you. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Another sidebar.
I mean, this is what we do. I'm an extrovert and it's uncomfortable for me to listen to it. It's the worst. I hate it. I really hate it too. It's very uncomfortable. Okay, so we're going to go kind of into, I want to share something with you. So I felt like when I got into network marketing, like I was a ringer because I felt like I was probably pretty smart. I have a very, very good work ethic. I could make anything happen if I tried hard enough and worked hard enough. I knew that from putting myself through cosmetology school and being literally the only one in the entire school that worked full time.
We are 25 minutes into this call, and so far they've just talked about themselves.
It's all about me.
What is the point of this leadership call that they do? I think it's monthly. It's just to get on and talk about yourself?
Nobody else did, and I worked full time with kids, so I wasn't afraid of hard work. I knew like I could outwork anybody. That's how I felt. I could outwork anybody. And if I had somebody who had made, when I met him, he was making $80,000 a month in his network marketing business, 80,000, $80,000 a month in his network marketing business. And so he had been successful even before that in network marketing. So I thought, if I have this person to teach me network marketing, I'm a shoo-in. Like I can work really hard and he can teach me this stuff. So I had this confidence that I was going to teach me everything. You tell me what to do. I'm doing this thing. You tell me exactly what to do. I'm going to tell you the first two things he told me to do. One of the very first, number one thing he told me to do is you need to have a team call every week. It was the first thing he told me. I had enrolled 5 people. I said, great, we'll get on and we'll start a call every week. So from the very first week I got involved in network marketing, I have done a weekly call every week, literally. Like for Savannah's going to be 21, so probably 19 years in a row, I've done a weekly team call in network marketing. That was the first thing. The second thing he told me was, you need to read this book and listen to these cassettes. And you had a stack of cassettes from Amway. They were the Amway.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say that.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, we tell everything here. There's nothing secret.
They were in Amway, and also that sounds a lot like Scientology. If you've never dove into the world of Scientology and learning about that specific interesting cult/religion, they have like the books and the CDs and the DVDs that I believe you have to purchase them to like rank up in the religion. That's exactly what this sounds like.
And so you had
still the biggest, baddest, most lucrative network marketing company in the world today, which is crazy.
They are. They do
Crazy.
10 billion a year.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Plus, they might even be more than 10 billion. 10
What's a
billion.
cassette? You had to say that, didn't you, Teresa? I love that. You're lying to me. You know what cassettes
Let
are.
me tell you what cassettes are, all you little millennial and Gen Z babies.
Millennials know what cassettes are, baby. We were there.
They were these little plastic things that we stuck into a machine and they played music. Or in the case of what we're talking about, they played these.
8-track.
I had an 8-track converter. So I had an 8-track in my car and I got a converter to stick a cassette in the 8-track and stick that into the car so that while I was driving, I could listen to the new modern cassettes. That's how old I am.
I wear that like a badge of honor.
So I want to ask you a question because it didn't make sense to me at the time. And I want you guys to hear this. Why were those the first two things you told me to do?
Team call and then the
Personal development.
well, I mean,
Reading a book and listening to a cassette.
I would almost say that everybody on this call, if you've been here for any amount of time, would probably know the answer to that. But yes, number one, I'll start with the second part, which was the reading the books or listening to the tapes or what do we call them today? Just now we're podcasts and you know, a lot easier. But yeah, it just for the personal growth side, becoming a better you and, you know, being around other people that had wanted to go into that same direction, because you do turn out like the people that you hang out with. And so that was for that. And then the team call, obviously, so that you could take what you're learning and what you're reading and how you're growing and get it across to the people that you're leading on your team so that they can do the same.
But I thought everybody was an entrepreneur that owned their own business. How are they on a team that's being led? Those two things don't add up.
You want to over time build. I've said this. I've heard you say it to the girls here, is to build leaders so that their teams will grow. So I've always said build leaders and teams will come. And that's like from that old movie. What did he say? It was Kevin Costner.
He said, build it and they will come.
Build it and they'll come. It's like, yeah, build leaders and
Build a dream.
teams will
Yes,
come.
Molly got it.
Thank you, Molly. Molly, you're too young for that. How did you know that name of that
That's a
business?
class.
Build all the leaders so you can recruit all of the people. Because that's the only way to make a livable wage within an MLM, like Girl Power Alliance.
Classic at any age.
I know she's going to give us another response. See, oh, stop it. LOL. But yeah, I mean, that'd be it. And if you want to have a team that can grow, if you want to have a team that is becoming more and more and more people, they have to also be growing and getting better. And what better business but to have Girl Power Alliance teach that specifically is to become a better you. And a lot of times in the past, men or women come to me and say, nothing's happening. And I would say, look in the mirror first. Before you say that again, take a look at yourself, who you're becoming, who you are, how you interact with people, how you handle objections, how you handle just how you get back off the ground when you're knocked down. What do you do in all these circumstances to teach the people that are around you what they should be doing? Because they're watching you. I mean, who's watching this as when you have kids? Have you ever noticed that, if you do a certain thing, your kids do it too? You see, if you're scrolling through, social media, people think it's so funny that their kid says a bad word. And it's like, well, where'd that come from? Because they probably say bad words all day long, right?
Who fucking says bad words all day long? Those awful fucking parents. What the shit?
They do everything you do. They do everything you do. And guess what? Your team that you're building does everything you do. So if you're binging Netflix every single night for 3, 4, 5 hours, and they know that, guess what they're going to do? Well, if they can be a part of GPA and watch 5 hours of Netflix every night, then I guess I can too. I'm not saying that.
I do it after hours. Everyone's asleep when I binge.
I don't know.
They're all
Yeah.
dead.
I'm not saying you're all doing that, but I'm just giving an example. They do what you do. And if you want them to do better, just become better, be a better person.
But they don't all do what you do. If you're building more leaders, they're all going to lead themselves into their own Netflix binge moments. They won't have to follow anybody because they'll be leading.
No, Teresa, that's a really interesting comment. She says, in corporate America, that's the last thing managers want to do is to empower people to be leaders. They're too insecure to allow others to shine.
Well, they don't want you taking a job either.
And
So
GPA is the polar opposite.
they definitely don't want you to be who they are.
It's one of the things I love about network marketing is that we only can reach our goals as we help to pull people up and lift people up and nudge people up so that they can shine. Like,
I love how she polishes that shit and makes it look like a shiny brick of gold. We get to pull people up and help them grow. In other words, you have to make everybody a leader and help them grow their teams so that you can in turn benefit at the top of the pyramid.
like in corporate America and in every other arena, it seems like you make it on the backs of other people. You make it by climbing over and stepping on people. In network marketing, you don't make it at all if you're not elevating other people and have the actual desire to have people pass you. I want to teach you everything I know, not so that you can get to where I'm at, so that you can surpass me.
Liar! This is bullshit.
That is the most beautiful, I think, concept ever. It's one of the things I loved about network marketing. What did you love about network marketing?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many things and what I don't remember the name of the person that said that,
Teresa.
but yeah, Teresa
Said she didn't know what a cassette was and she lied.
Management not wanting for people to grow, and it's for obvious reasons. They don't want you to take their job. And in network marketing, nobody's taking your job. They might pass you an income, but who cares? You're going to make more because of it. So the whole goal is to help people be better people. And
They might pass you an income, but who cares because you're going to make more money because of it. He just said the quiet part out loud.
make more income if that's part of what your goal is, because it doesn't matter. You're not getting fired, and your income's not going to go down. At least not with the comp plan that you guys have. you girls have.
A little plug there for our compensation plan.
Why are we calling grown women girls? Listen, little boy, they are women. If they're old enough to sign up for this bullshit MLM, they are adults. They are women.
Always.
And Bobby does the commissions, so he knows exactly. He's watching that. Listen,
Michelle admitted she watches No Brainer TV.
I do.
You know, sometimes you got to take your mind off
It's the only way
the work of the
that
day.
my mind stops, and he knows it. And what happens to me within just a few minutes?
I'll sleep. Yeah, it doesn't take long. But as soon as she gets into another world like that, yeah, she's down. She's gone.
Listen, I'm thinking of a lot of things all the time. This is a busy place up here. It's got a lot going on. So putting on some mindless TV truly helps my brain to stop. So it's a good thing. And listen, if you're gonna binge on anything, I have to do a plug. Ted Lasso, by far the best show. They do say the F word a lot and there's some cussing in there. But if you can not allow that to impact you, I think it's the best show on TV. There's so much value in what they do and just the arc of personal development within that show. I love it. I wish there was no cussing because more people would watch it. His dad won't even watch it because it has cussing in it to that level, but it's such a good show.
I want to answer this question. Destina said, why are so many people against MLMs? It's horrible. In the old days, is it Destina? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
In the old days, it was reasonable to not like MLM because so many of them did bad things. They had illegal ingredients in their products. They had illegal compensation structures. There were reasons that you could say, I don't like that industry at all. So I can understand this is 25 plus years ago. But today's network marketing is a much different world. There are more sales going on today around the world in network marketing than 3, 4, or 5 of the biggest industries in the world combined. It is a massive industry out there. And the only reason that they're going to badmouth it today, in my opinion, is because of their own failures, their own reasons why they can't do it or why they won't do it, or they just didn't follow what their leader said to do to get to a certain place.
Let's unpack that. First of all, those things are still happening within MLMs. That's the problem with MLMs. And people still speak out about MLMs very loudly. And also, is it because of their own failure? Because they didn't follow their leader? I thought everybody was supposed to be a leader, not a follower, sir. The contradictions. My goodness. Also, you just explained how this is a pyramid scheme because if you keep building leaders and people surpass you, it's okay. They're going to make more money, but you are too.
And then they blame somebody else for their mistakes or for their failures, and there really isn't a whole lot else I could say about that.
There's a lot of reasons, and as women, we
they didn't do the work. That's right, Jim.
Well, and also as women, like we maybe manage people more than we lead people.
How the fuck do you know that they failed and didn't do the work? Maybe they just saw it for what it was. How about that?
How about that?
They saw it for the fact that they needed to recruit all of their friends and family and anybody else that they crossed paths with in order to make a livable wage, let alone $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, whatever they talk about that they were able to make.
Turn you out for sure in network marketing because you can't manage, you have to lead. I wanted to say something. Oh, can I say this is a sidebar squirrel moment, but I wanted to say something because one of the things that I don't hear it as often anymore, but in the beginning we heard this a lot, and sometimes people still hear it. Well, you're profiting off the word of God. I can't believe you're making money off of this and all these things. It is those same people that brag about shopping at like Chick-fil-A, getting food because Chick-fil-A is an openly Christian company. It's those same people that want to say, oh my gosh, I only shop at Hobby Lobby for that stuff because Hobby Lobby is an openly Christian company. What's wrong with us being an openly Christian company? There's nothing wrong with that. Do you think Hobby Lobby is profiting off the word of God because they have so many Christian books and Christian signs? Do you? No, you don't. None of us think that. We know it's a for-profit business that just happens to honor God with what they do. That's exactly what we do. So I hope that helps you in some of your language when people are saying that to you. Oh, you're profiting off the word of God. You're like, well, then so is Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A. Like they're doing.
No, they're not, because they're not leading with the fact that they're Christian. Hobby Lobby, I have feelings about. Chick-fil-A, I also have feelings about, but I don't see them as often talking about buy our chicken sandwich because we're Christian. Do you love God? Are you a follower of God's word? Then buy our chicken sandwich. Come to our arts and crafts store because we love God. Are you Christian? You should come to Hobby Lobby. These people are out here leading with the fact that they're Christian. I frequent Chick-fil-A. I try not to. It's an addiction. I'm working on it. I frequent Chick-fil-A, but I am also not Christian. And I also disagree with most of the things that the leadership in Chick-fil-A says. But I love the chicken. I love the waffle fries. They don't walk up to my car when I get there to pick up my order and say, I am Christian. I love God. What's the name on your order? That is not how they lead at all. And that's the problem, because you are literally benefiting from the word of God when you are selling these courses that are based around your religion and leading with the fact that everything is based around your religion. It's totally different.
The same thing. What about In-N-Out? In-N-Out has a Bible verse on the bottom of every single cup and every little piece of paper. They have a Bible verse, different ones. So we are a personal professional leadership development company. We facilitate that through live calls, through online on-demand courses, through certifications, right? We have a membership that you are introducing people to the membership.
I also frequent In-N-Out. This is why I'm fat. I said it so you don't have to. I frequent In-N-Out, and I never knew that they had Bible verses on the bottom of everything. And you know why? Because they don't lead with that. I go in there to get food, not to hear about Jesus Christ and God.
We just happen to be super in love with Jesus. We just happen to do that, and we include him in what we're doing. So I want to help you, right? I want to help you to know that if people don't be stumped. That's not what we're doing. It's the same as any other company that just is openly Christian.
You know, I have a comment on this one.
Be nice. It's only girls here. There's only girls.
I'm gonna be
Women, why are they girls? Am I the only one that's slightly offended by that? Like, we're not children. Adult females that identify as females are women, not girls.
nice, but let's just go to the church. Every single denomination out there, how are they operating without your money? How are they paying the pastor and the management and all the people that work there that actually get paid? They have to have money for everything they do, for their expansions, for their missionaries that are overseas or in country. They have to have a lot of money. The church that we've gone to since our last child was born, or whenever it was that we started going to church, it's been a long time ago.
I think she was 3. We
That
started going
church
there.
does millions of dollars.
Well,
They do
we
millions of dollars, and
spent $100,000 on her education,
just because they have a Christian
not
school
counting
there.
five, just going to school there.
Yeah, so that you know, if somebody has a problem with GPA, MLM side, I saw that comment, then they're not listening. They're not looking around them and go to your church and ask. You know, a lot of churches in the old days used to. It's so weird. I went to Baptist churches when I was in high school, and on the wall they would have the accounting, like how much money goes towards this. I mean, they would show you, and it was a lot of money even back then. So it's like, you know, you can't really say, does that mean that they're earning money off God's back as well? I don't think so, but you know, some people just have a problem.
Sir, I may not be a very religious person. I don't go to church, but it's a church. I can't even put it into words right now. You're talking about people who are parishioners. I think it's parishioners.
Some words are big and hard to understand.
At a church who make a monetary donation before the comments start coming. I know there are certain religious organizations where you are required to pay, but I'm talking about the churches that you are not required to donate to. I was part of a Catholic church for a very long time that we went to, and we gave when we could, and when we couldn't, we weren't turned away from church services because of that. There's not a set amount of money that you have to pay in order to go to church to follow your belief system. Those are donations in most cases. You're talking about an MLM that is utilizing courses based around God and the Christian beliefs and selling those things to people for financial gain and not for the church. Same page yet? I don't know if he would get on the same page as a girl because he's a real man in his Real Men Alliance.
They do, and I think as long as we have
Another excuse, I would just call it.
as long as you're clear on what we are and what we do, say it's no different than any other company out there. I mean, have you guys heard how much money Hobby Lobby has made over the years? And that the owner wants to actually give it away.
Yeah.
He actually wants to give the company away. It's literally worth billions of dollars. There's some interesting things around money for sure. Lisa's right. It's rooted in a faulty mindset. That ministry and church is more spiritual and noble than the marketplace is. Yeah, you're exactly right.
What the fuck are we talking about? Where did we go? Where are we? I'm lost in a jungle right now. So now we're talking about Hobby Lobby profiting because they sell goods. They have things in their store that they sell. So yes, they make money. What does that have to do? Where are we?
I mean, the truth of the matter is, I mean, if you really want, we're going down a different path, and I'll bring us back here in a
It's part of my
second.
call.
No, we're going down a different path, and I'll bring us back here in a second. But I want to say this: like, if you look at Jesus' ministry and the disciples, there's a very specific verse, I think it's in Peter, where he says, we could be living off of your offerings, but we continue to work and make money for ourselves to show you something. They were tent makers, they were carpenters, they were fishermen, they continued to work. And if you really have done some study, you realize that Mary and Martha were wealthy and they funded a lot of the ministry. Like, they were literally in marketplace ministry. They were still working, they were still doing things. Right. So anyway,
When the right people have a lot of money, great things can happen.
yes, praise God on that one.
Say that,
Praise
and
God.
of course it can.
What the fuck word salad are we being served up today? They are just like scribbling on a piece of paper, hoping people will just believe everything that they say afterwards. I don't know where we went. There was no final destination there. We didn't reach any kind of point that they were trying to make. I am concerned.
I want to ask you a question because somebody said I was coachable. I was very coachable because this was a profession I knew nothing about. I hadn't read any books yet. I went from building a business, standing behind the chair very successfully, to this whole different world of network marketing and leading people in a way that I'd never led before. So I asked Bobby a lot of questions, and I would say, this happened and blah, 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 and he would just let me get all of my words out. And he'd go, well, but maybe you need to handle it like this. And maybe they're saying that because this. And maybe next time you handle it like that. So I want to, like, how, just forget everybody else but me, as you were really leading me. Can you talk about because your style of leadership is the same with everybody, not just me. He never tried to make me feel bad for who I was. He allowed me to be me. And he always just brought in suggestions. Maybe this happened because of this, and maybe next time you could do it that way. So do you share some of your thoughts on that? Because my leadership style has completely evolved over the years because of you. I was more of a hatchet job leader before. Oh, you didn't do it? Off with your head. And now I'm much different.
If I'm understanding, hopefully, the question right, I guess one of the main things that I do with people is meet them where they're at. I mean, because everybody is who they are at that moment. And why make it harder on them by completely chastising everything they do? So yes, I meet them where they're at, and I try to help maybe bring an improvement to the table. And is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, because I mean, that's not how.
Really lady with the iron.
For sure, lady with the iron, for sure. I mean, it was it wasn't wimpy by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't making me wrong. And it's one of the things over the years, he would say certain things to me when I would be frustrated with something that was going on in the team. And you always said this one thing to me. Ultimately, they're a customer. Don't blow them out. Ultimately, they're a customer. Like, if I'm trying to work with people, yeah, you have a business. So all of the people that are purchasing your product or your service, they're your customer ultimately. So like, where I would want to be just harsh with people, they said this, blah, 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 ha, me just going off with their heads. And he's like, ultimately, they're your customer. Like,
I'm sorry, what did you say?
They're the customer.
Okay, got it.
treat them with honor, meet them where they're at. It worked very well for me, like my whole career.
Well, it's the old, and I've never used the saying, but we've all heard you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And it's like, all we do as a leader in this profession, at least, is get them the information. You've got your calls, you've got trainings, and you've got all these things to help people get better. If they don't show up, that's on them, not on you. And I think Michelle, in the early days, always thought it was on her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to probably say more. Well, how come you weren't there? What happened? That's just not your job. Your job is to say, here's the water. Are you thirsty? You have to take a drink. It's going to make you feel better. And yeah, that's all I can say that I do. And I really just, in any business I've owned over the years, been that way toward my customers over all the things that I've done.
It served you well.
What you're saying, Bobby, is to give them the tools, listen to them, and then give them feedback. Sure.
But he would give me feedback. I'm trying to think. Did you give me feedback without me asking? I think I always asked.
Yes. No, I don't. No, I think the reason that maybe you took it differently, as if I was more judging or more,
No, I
was
think
because I would say something and maybe you just at first took it a little bit like it was a negative, maybe.
I didn't take it like a negative, but I resistantly was coached because I was resistant to, even though I would listen to him, but at first I always resisted it. Whatever he'd say, I'd go, no, no, no. And then it would sink in a little while later. I was like, oh, he's probably freaking right. And that made me really mad, but I listened to him and it really helped to shape me. I mean, I want to be right. It's my personality. Like I want to be right. But oftentimes, most of the time, especially in this arena, you were right.
Well, I should have recorded that.
It is recorded.
Oh, it is. Oh, can I get a clip of that and just keep it in my archives?
Ferris will send you the reel.
Thanks, Ferris. Appreciate that. She might not. She might be on your side on that one.
Nobody's on. They're all on
It's
your
called
side.
Girl Power Alliance, not Men Power Alliance.
Well, you know what they all call you.
No, what?
Yeah, you do. Molly or Ferris will put it in the chat here. What they call you.
Creepy Tim.
Resistantly coached.
That'd be a good name for her book, the next book. That's right.
I have so many books I want to write, girls. I have so many books I want to write. The Principle. That's
Oh,
right.
Principle. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to move forward because we really only have 15 minutes left. I hope we've shared
Have
some.
we talked about leadership at all so far? Or are we
I
just
mean,
kind of
kind of.
chatting?
We're chatting about leadership. Let's talk about leadership in this business because he said it earlier. I say it. You guys have heard me say it. Build leaders and teams will come. I've told you guys the stories of us together building that we weren't the couple that enrolled 150 people a year. We never were that. But we were amazing at developing leaders within our team. We were amazing at taking the people that we had and taking them from where they were at and helping them to get to their next level and then maybe their next level and teaching them to do that with the people on their teams. And so we were very, very good at leadership development. Part of the way that we facilitated that over the years, babe, was our 90-day pushes. And so our 90-day pushes were like, I want you to talk about kind of what we did in these groups and why we did the things that we did. What was the ultimate purpose for what we were doing it was personal development. It was leadership development. We're teaching them kind of the behaviors and the actions that they probably know they should be taking, but maybe are too insecure, too scared, just don't have the ambition or initiative. They don't have the natural initiative. So in these environments, so can you talk a little bit about, because we saw all of the rank advancements, everything that were on the heels of those 90-day runs.
So you're asking what
Like, just talk about those. Why do you think those worked?
that could be a big answer. Kind of goes with Jeannie's question there a little bit too. Gosh, I mean, to be able to get everybody focused for an end result that everybody's looking for, whether it be personal growth, whether it be to make more money in the business that you're invested in, to be different around the people that you're friends with, people at work, your kids, your spouse, I mean, whoever. It's an end result type 90 days. Like we're starting here and we want to get to here. How do we do that together and hold each other accountable? And it's the accountability that really helps with those 90-day pushes that we used to do. I guarantee you that was not the direction you probably wanted me to go.
I didn't have something in mind because we say different things about it, but I mean, the accountability is huge. There's a little bit of pressure, like, so they want to perform.
That's true. The pressure really, and the way we did it, that we would team people up. I think you guys are doing that now. And when you team people up, now all of a sudden they're with somebody they may or may not know, and they don't want to fail them. And so it forces you to do the things in the classes that you're in to get to that end result, or a bigger result than where you're at today.
Yeah, because you got to force them to get to the result of having their own little pyramid so that you can make money and make it look like they're winning.
So I think that's huge.
We tried it a bunch of different ways over the years, and we finally got a formula that really, really worked. We put people in teams with people that they didn't know on purpose. Because oftentimes you'll work harder for somebody that you don't know than you will work for yourself, and you don't want to let them down.
We would say that.
Yes.
You'd say, look, if you quit this 90 days, or if you decide to just not show up on some of the calls, you're letting this team of 3 or 5 or 6 down. And they were like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be the one.
I don't want to be that person. And so it really, really worked. And it was a very positive thing.
Very positive. It wasn't negative at all. And people at the end always thanked us. They were so thankful for all the challenges, all the pushes, the little bit of pressure and all of that. This is a great question that Mila's asking, and you actually heard me talking to Lemon today. So
any tips on attracting people who are leaders and team builders? I feel challenged in this area. Any tips on attracting people who are leaders and team builders? Well, again, it goes back to personal growth. In my opinion, the better you get, the better people that you will find, because you've changed and you've grown and they see it. And just the way you act and react to different situations truly shows you as a different person and a better person. I don't know if this relates to this at all, but it just popped into my head. But I had to pick something up at the doctor's office a few days ago. And I walk in and there's these 3 women sitting at the front desk area. and they're all just doing their thing. Sometimes they get on the phone or not, or they're just on their computers, and
Women, not girls.
just seemed very. I walked in the building, and I'm not a small guy. I'm a big dude.
Lying is bad.
You know, you'd think that they would at least notice that I walked in the building, and they really didn't. I walked all the way up to the counter, and two of the women are right there. And like literally they're 2 feet from your face. And then there's a third in the background. And there just was nothing. Just
What do you mean? They didn't greet you?
Well, they, you know, finally, what can I do for you? I mean, it was just very boring, and they seemed very just bored. And what was the, oh my gosh, I got to go back to what that question was, because
I'm a big guy. He looks really short, by the way. I don't know how tall he is. Maybe that's an ad hominem, but he just said he's a big guy. He doesn't look very big. I'm just commenting on what he said, okay?
Keep going. It's Mila. She was asking about attracting
okay.
leaders. I'll go to it.
Okay. Oh, no, it wasn't related to that. It was just related to, that helped me to remember why I was saying this. I started being a non-introvert, and I started making them laugh. And by the end of about 5 to 7 minutes talking to these 3 women, they were laughing. They were interacting with me. They were talking about situations in the office. We were just talking and enjoying this conversation, but they didn't want to have anything to do with me right when I first walked in. They were bored to death.
What'd you say to him? You must have said, "Are you guys bored?" What did you say?
I probably said something that was dry humor like that, but I don't remember exactly. But it was just one of those
Something asshole-esque, I'm sure.
things where, and it does go along with the question, how do you relate to people? It's just, I just open up and I make them react, and I just talk. It doesn't have to be about the business all the time. Have regular conversations. Practice this tomorrow or the next day. Just start talking to a stranger in line somewhere, or at the bank, or the teller at the bank. Make the bank person laugh. Really make them open up. And my dry humor sometimes probably shocks people, and it makes them react, but they're probably happy, and they have said they were glad they talked to me that day, because I make them think something else besides how many hours do I have left behind this counter today. And it really just makes, I don't know if this is making any sense to anybody, but for me to, you know, as an introvert, I could have walked up to that desk that day, and I could have just easily just been like, "Can I help you, sir? Yeah, I need to pick this up," and then walked and sat down. And I could have been good with that. As an introvert, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't need to talk to somebody. But I decided that day to get these women more excited about being there for whatever time they had to be there. And it was a great way this is a great way for you as new networkers or experienced networkers to continue on with this particular career that you decided to be in, and just open up and make people laugh, make people talk. Ask them questions. They love to talk about themselves.
Just like you.
They love to answer questions about their life when you ask. It just changed the whole mood in that office, I think, that day. And there was one more girl sitting at the in the little waiting area, and I could just
a patient,
and I could just see, I could tell she was listening to every word, and she's perked up, and she'd look or she'd smile. I could just tell. And everybody just wants to be involved with that person that opened up the whole room. So
Does he hear himself? I wonder if he hears what he's saying. Sorry, I have a messed up nail.
start becoming that person. If I can do it, girls, trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do that, because I am not that person.
That's not his natural.
I have to decide to be that person on that particular day and time.
We call that here, Fairlick wrote it, we call it shifting the atmosphere.
That's exactly right.
And
people want to be around people that shift the atmosphere, for sure.
yeah, and to kind of answer that question, Mila, about how do you attract people like that? You attract it by who you become. So I have a quote, I think it's a Jim Rohn quote up here that I've had literally since I started in network marketing. It's the first little quote I put in a frame, and it says, "Success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted, and you attract it by the person that you become."
Perfect.
And so
I didn't even know that. And that's just what I did naturally.
He is so obsessed with himself. Just do that naturally. I am awesome. Awesome. I am Mr. Awesome. We've talked a lot about how awesome this guy is. Everybody loves him. He's awesome. He can make people laugh. He's just so great.
and I will tell you, like, I've seen him do both. I've seen him walk in and literally not
say a word.
It's perfect. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. I'm invisible. Just give me what I need. I'll leave. We don't have to have talks. And then I've seen him do that and just watch people's eyes light up.
I embarrass my daughter.
Oh, she hates it.
When I get in that mood where I want to, what do you call it, shift the atmosphere?
Yes.
When I get into that mood, my daughter's just like,
She's all, you are so embarrassing. You're so embarrassing, Dad.
And it's for her maybe because she's 20, but for the adults that were sitting behind that counter, I'm sure that hopefully anyways, part of the rest of their day was positive.
You guys hear me say this all the time, to leave people better than you found them. Like when you have that attitude about your life, to leave people better than you found them. He walked into this office where they were all clearly just depressed and watching the clock tick until 5 o'clock or whatever. He left them better than he found them. They were probably giggling and talking, and if you will attract all kinds of people in your business if that's just your goal. Yeah. Your goal shouldn't. Now, I do believe that when you are in a recruiting mode, you have to be in the recruiting mindset, because it does change your conversations and the questions that you ask. So if you listened to my Freedom Friday call last week, you heard me talk about mentally the way that I do that. But I will tell you, as a human being, as a Christ follower, as an ambassador for Christ, you should always, everywhere you go, take on the mantle of leaving people better than you found them, period. That should be the mark of who you are, so that people know if you're coming to a party or a birthday party or an event, you're coming to a business thing, they know that just because you're there, that event is going to be better. Because you are there, you walked into the room, they want your energy is going to give them something. And I will tell you, if you become a person that adds value everywhere you go, you will be unstoppably successful. That could be, Bobby does this too. You hear somebody talking about something, he'll go, we have the heater guy. We have a great guy that he fixed our heater. He just fixed something with our air conditioner yesterday or today.
A couple days ago, yeah.
And he heard somebody at the gym. He's like, I have the greatest guy for you. Here's his number. He's adding value. Like, I have the great adding value is encompasses a lot of things. It could be complimenting somebody, it could be encouraging them, it could be a great referral, right? Be a really good connector. It can be helping somebody out. I mean, Bobby does all of these things naturally. He heard about an autistic kid locally who got his bike stolen. He went and bought the kid a bike and met up with the mom. I mean, he's just adding value wherever he can, as he can. When you become that person, network marketing will be the easiest thing you've ever done, because people will be so attracted to you. They'll trust you and they'll want to work with you, and they'll find out, oh my gosh, you mean I could actually join your team and I could work with you and be around this all the time? That is a huge thing. And a lot of people join teams because they just want to be around those leaders. They know that they're positive, awesome people, and they just want to be around them, right? When you become that person, you won't have to ask that question, because people will just be attracted to you because of who you are becoming. Now, this is something that you become. We're all tired. We all have things going on. So you go through life. Most people, I did a podcast about this, I think in 2017, when I first started podcast, I called it The Walking Dead, because people are walking around literally in a zombie state of mind. They're driving. They don't look at anybody in the eye. They have resting anger face all the time. They're not saying hello. They don't hold the door. They're oblivious to the world around them because they're so into their world. What you are a disruptor for the kingdom. When you go out and you do what he did just randomly in that doctor's office, how long were you there?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. I guarantee you it was the best 15 minutes of their day at the office. For real.
Yeah, hope so. It makes you feel good too when you can make other people feel good. And even if it wasn't trying to recruit situation, which I've learned over the last 30 years that you can't make every situation a recruitment situation, because then you're that person, right? So you have to just have
I hate it.
Normal life situations can make you better, and it makes the people around you better. And maybe next time you see them, there might be a different conversation. Who knows?
Next time you see him, you could ask him to join. No matter if you do it the first time or the third time, the agenda is there. You're connecting with individuals to eventually pitch them your MLM opportunity. Bullshit.
Who knows? Or you might see them at a restaurant, that same person, and they were like, you know what, you made my day that day. Oh, great. Yeah. What do you do, by the way? You never know. They might ask you what you do. And that's a perfect time to bring up, GPA or whatever.
Which is how both of us have always recruited. I believe that there's a natural progression. It's not a 3-footing and now you're trying to recruit them. It's this. You collect friends everywhere you go. And at some point, a friend can become a business partner, but I don't think you can become a business partner unless you become a friend first. So I try to connect with people and make relationships with people and learn about people for 2 reasons. Number one, do I actually want to work with them?
We're collecting friends now like they're fucking baseball cards. What? We don't collect friends. I've never heard it worded that way.
So you collect people?
Make friends, connect with friends, collect friends. We're entering a whole different category at that point. Collection of friends. That is bizarre.
Do I want to work with them? I know for sure they're going to want to work with me. Let's just say that. I am a great person to work with. I will pour out on you. I will encourage you. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I already know I'm a good person to work with, but do I want to work with you? So I'm asking questions to find out, do they need anything that I have? Do they need anything where I can fill the need with Girl Power Alliance? And over the course of getting to know them and asking questions, then I know the answer to that. And I know, is that somebody that I actually want to work with? So asking questions is a two-way street for me. It's not just so that I can find the need and fill it because I want to recruit everybody that has legs. I don't necessarily want to recruit everybody. That's the truth. If I'm just being like totally honest, maybe that's not a good business thing to say, but I don't maybe want to recruit everybody. But there are.
So if it's like Justina or who was that? It depends, because she said, I hear be patient and build relationships first. Well, a lot of times you're talking to people you've already had relationships with for a long time, and that's different. But if it's somebody brand new, like the women in this office I spoke of, then sure, yeah, maybe you could build a relationship, because you might be seeing that person, let's call it once every couple of weeks or once a month or something, and maybe you're building this rapport. But yeah, sure, I'll say yes on that answer. Can I were you done with what you were just saying?
Sure.
I'm sorry if I totally interrupted that.
Okay.
I wanted to help bring up one of the questions, which is a major question in my opinion, is the girl asks, how do I talk to the people that are more influential about this business? I think
Basically.
something like that. I don't know if we gave you a true answer to that, but
Sorry, Mila.
is it mine?
Yeah.
I think that the answer on that, remember this, the people that have a lot of influence, the people that are already very successful, the people that change the atmosphere are a lot of times, and most of the time, the best people for this type of business. The ones that are super busy and successful are going to be successful here too, because they get it. They understand people, they understand opportunity. A lot of times they are always trying to get better, be better for them, be better themselves, be better in other parts of their world, whether it be relationships, income, whatever. Those could be your best people. So there's a motivation there for you to try to get over the fear of talking to the people that you're afraid to talk to, because a lot of times they will be your best people. So figure that one out. And you know what? We're not such a big company yet where this woman right here can't get on the phone with you to talk to those people for you and with you.
We'll never be that big. I always want to do that.
I feel like a lot of times people are afraid to ask Michelle to help with those types of people. And because Michelle is that person and she knows how to relate and talk to those people. So please don't forget that one, and make sure that everybody deserves to have the opportunity to be a part of GPA. They all do. They should be here. They need to be here. They want to be here. They just don't know it yet because you haven't told them yet. So by the way, if you wait too long, somebody else on this call where I think there was over 50 something, 55, 60 people earlier, somebody else is going to tell that person that you're talking about eventually. And you're going to, this is a joke kind of, but you would walk around a big convention and you'd see a bunch of handprints on people's foreheads. I think I got a son the other day. Watch this. You see those fingers? You see that handprint? Because people are seeing the people that were on their list at the event, and they're hitting themselves thinking, I knew I should have talked to such and such, because here they are. And they're doing great. I saw them walk across stage, by the way, and get a little trophy for being great at this business. So
let me just,
why else would they be hitting themselves over the head if they weren't potentially losing money? Let me rephrase that. So if you're going to a convention, a business convention, and say, I don't know, this is what's coming to my head because I was in this position. Say you're the manager at a doctor's office that's affiliated with a hospital, and another doctor's office at that same hospital, their manager hired somebody that you interviewed, but you went with somebody else who's also working out well, and you see that other individual is hired over there. Do you, I should have hired that person? No, because you're not profiting off of those people. You're filling the need for that job role, and those people are getting paid, and so are you. You didn't get a pay increase or a pay decrease just because that person went to a different doctor's office, whereas in this case, you are losing out on a profit. And that's where the problem lies, because it shouldn't matter if somebody else recruited them because they're still in the same company, business, but you're not benefiting monetarily off of that person, the other person is. And that's why they're all walking around going, oh, I should have asked them.
I
Don't
want to
forget that.
I want to answer
Is that
that
guy thing, by the way?
kind of. It's kind of a guy thing. I mean, girls feel that too, but that was communicated in a guy way for sure. But let me just say this about that, like busy people or people already, listen, there's a couple of things. Just because somebody is busier than you or more successful than you doesn't make them a better person than you. So to think about, like, I'm intimidated to talk to this person because that's a lie from the pit of hell. I just don't even believe it. Who's the one that took the giant down with the slingshot? He was the one that everybody thought the least of. Can I get an amen on that one? He's the one that everybody, including his own father, thought the least of. When Saul came to see all the sons, is this all your sons? Well, I mean, there is David, but it's just David. He's out in the field with the sheep. So by you thinking that there's something lesser about you, you are not giving God the opportunity to actually work through you in somebody else's life. So you should talk to everybody and just be honest with them. And people that are busy, they don't have time for another thing. I agree with that. But who has time for another thing? But
see, there's where you're using God to make a quick buck, to profit your latest and greatest grift. You are telling these individuals that God is wanting them to do this. This is why God put them on this earth. That's not true. I am willing to bet that God does not want people to recruit more and more people into MLMs. This is a problem.
But I guarantee you, most of those busy people, influential people, are not getting poured back into. So the question you can ask is, what do you do to fill yourself back up? What are you doing to stay filled? How do you get poured into?
Oh my God, can we stop? It's vile.
Because if you don't have something, I have an amazing option that I think you're going to fall in love with. Like that is a great thing to talk to people. People in ministry, they pour out. They're broke, they're tired, their wells are empty. Come and get filled up here. And then guess what? Maybe you can fill up your bank account too. I know we're over.
My 12-year-old boy mind just kicked in there, okay?
Oh, so immature.
Are you with me? Are we on the same page?
By 4 minutes.
I want to mention one more thing too. Michelle Tufford says, I originally said no to this because I was busy. Thankfully, Natalie, who must be her
yes,
sponsor enroller, Natalie didn't give up. And remember that one too. You're gonna hear that often as your team grows and gets bigger. And when somebody gets awarded for something and they go across stage or whatever it might be, they're going to thank you for continuing to say, hey, is the timing right now? Hey, look, we've got this now going on with GPA and it's so exciting. And then next time you're like, hey, remember that thing I told you about? Well, guess what? I mean, all these times that you've said something and finally, in this case, Michelle said, yes, finally. And guess what? Michelle's going to be great here. And she's probably going to forever, even if, and I'm not saying this, Natalie, if you're here, even if
Natalie's here.
Even if Natalie wasn't here anymore.
Natalie's not allowed to not be here.
Michelle will continually, even if she wasn't in the room, say thank you for never giving up on me. So remember that one too, that sometimes it takes more exposures to GPA than just one time and they said no to you and you just took it so hard. I get that. But, if you continue to talk over and over and over time, they will say yes and they will thank you for it because at that time of their life, now they needed it. Before they didn't, now they did. Now they do.
I have had many people
forever grateful.
Tell me thank you for not giving up on them. And I'm talking about people that it took years to recruit. With that being said, the last build that Bobby and I did as distributors, our enroller called Bobby every 6 months for 6 years.
6 years he tried to get me to say yes.
6 years. And I always tell this story. I have no idea how he had my phone number. I still don't know, but he would call me looking for him. And I'd be like, yeah, that guy called you again. And he'd go, oh, I'll call him from my phone for 6 years. Now, once we finally said yes to that, and you guys know the story, it was on the heels of us, getting kicked out of the company that we built. Within a year, we doubled his income from, he was making $70,000 a month to over $1.5 million.
You mean over
$70,000 a month? He was making over $1.5 million after a year of us being there. So
it was worth the wait. In other words,
it was worth the wait.
And the continued, hey, how about now?
Because
Timing.
statistically,
It's really a timing thing.
it is. Statistically, they say that your life circumstances changes about every 6 months. Why wouldn't you go back to people? You should go back to people. You don't know. And if you really believe somebody was meant to be here, don't give up. Why would you give up? And I would tell people, they'd be like, no. I'd be like, okay, I'm not giving up. I'm going to come back to you in a few months. They'd be like, okay, rolling their eyes.
I'm going to keep pestering you until you join my MLM.
But I didn't say it in a nasty way. I was like, I'm going to keep coming because I believe that this is going to be amazing for you.
One of the things, and this is just network marketing 101, and maybe you've trained this a million times, you probably have, but one of the things I always, if you want to get a yes on every conversation, end the conversation after they've said no to you, end it with, do you mind if I follow up and let you know how things are going in 3 to 6 months? What are they going to say to you? Nah.
I don't want to hear about that.
I like to end it with a positive and have them say yes every time by saying, do you mind if I follow up in the next 6 months, just to let you know how things are going? First of all, you saying 6 months, if it's that long, you're showing your commitment to making this happen. And second of all, like she just said, things could dramatically change in people's lives. I've seen people get divorced within that 6 months, and things are so different. I know somebody's laughing there. I get it. But things can be so drastically different that their whole mindset is different, and they might just be ready for what you have now. So you just don't know. Their kids might have grown and left the house now, and they're empty nesters, and they're totally different up here now. They might think differently when you come to them 6 months later. So don't forget that. Are we still talking about leadership, or are we talking about?
What are we even talking about?
Kind of.
Network
I think
marketing.
the animals brought something in over there, and we're 9 minutes over, and I'm a huge
Thanks for
timekeeper.
staying with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. I hope this was valuable. I know we kind of swirled all around, but I really wanted you to hear some of this actual leadership talk as it pertains just to leadership alone and influence, and then how it actually pertains to building a business, because it really is. The people, if you've been around network marketing long enough, you'll find that not all of them, okay, it's not 100% of the time in any profession, but a lot of times the people that have been around network marketing for 10, 15, 20 years, the people that are making great money in network marketing, they're some of the best people you'll know, because they've been engaging in personal, professional, and leadership development for 10, 15, 20 years. So they just keep refining themselves and becoming these amazing human beings. When you begin to when you continually refine yourself, you begin to become such an amazing human being that people just want to be around you. And when it comes to recruiting and enrolling here, it gets easier and easier. That's the truth. If you're the same person here today as you were when you enrolled, then that's the thing you need to work on. Jim Rohn says work on yourself more than you work on your business, because as you're working on yourself, it will inadvertently change what's happening in your business. So thank you guys for sticking with us. I'm sorry we went 10 minutes over. Clearly we could do a longer call when it comes to this. We're already asking for a part 2. We'll keep that in mind for sure.
By the way, I just scrolled through the people that are on this call, and not very many of you have your cameras on. I'm the introvert here, and I got to be on camera. So all of you got to turn your cameras on next time.
Jeez, bossy.
I like to see people smiling and laughing. And
It's 4 a.m. I'm multitasking.
oh, so sorry. We got to let her go to
We
bed
do.
for at least 2 hours. Jeez.
Well, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for your questions. As always, if you found something of value tonight, one of the ways to help you grow your business is to tell somebody. So go online, post about something, an epiphany, a takeaway, something, tell somebody about it, send a text. Say, I was on this amazing call tonight and I heard this, and it made me think of you, or a conversation we were having. The best way to help help these calls to help you, like help me help you, is to actually start talking about them. Show people some of these things that are happening in your life via social media and through just face-to-face text and conversations and phone calls. Appreciate you all so much. I love you all very, very much. And we will see you next week for our expert coaching call.
What a mess. What did anybody actually learn from that? Let me know. Drop a comment with your new piece of knowledge that you got from that call. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.
Wanna stay the night.